Hello, this is Mike Anderson of Collision Advice. And on behalf of Nissan INFINITI, we appreciate you joining us on our monthly webinar called Learn to Research, Search to Learn. Today we will be doing our first ever part 2 of an OEM monthly series teaching you, a collision repair estimator or insurance estimator, on how to utilize Nissan INFINITI's Tech Info website in order to ensure a proper repair and write an accurate damage analysis. Let's get started. First of all participants have been muted. However, questions are encouraged. To ask any questions during the webinar, use the questions feature in the GoToWebinar panel. Or what you can do is you can text your questions to Tracy Dombrowski, my awesome teammate, and her phone number is 571-458-0648. Now, when you text your question, please include your name, and if you're from a shop or an insurance carrier, please include the name of the shop that you're calling or texting from. By the way, a copy of this webinar will be made available after the webinar. So that means that we're recording this, and it will be hosted on our Collision Advice YouTube channel for you to view or share with other teammates in the future. Now, please understand this webinar will last longer than an hour. So if you have to step away, we understand, and that's why we record the webinar, and it's made available to you for free. And again, we'd like to say thank you and acknowledge our friends at Nissan and INFINITI, as well as for Sika, for all their contributions to the collision repair industry. So who do we have on our webinar today? Well, we have Mike Anderson of Collision Advice. We might be having Jake Rodenroth from Aztec join us. But most importantly, we have Mark Zoba from Nissan and INFINITI, as well as Danny, also from Nissan North America. So in addition, while we don't have their photos up, we also have Sarah Hicks and Sarah Baylog and Justin Miller from Nissan INFINITI as well. So Team Nissan, are you on the line with us?
We are. We're all here.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today. So let's get started. First of all, every webinar we have to begin by reading antitrust guidelines. So I'll read these very quickly. It is understood that in today's session, we will not discuss any issues that would violate antitrust guidelines. Avoiding violations of the antitrust laws is the responsibility and legal obligation of the business owner. And any discussion of current prices or discounts with a competitor should be avoided. In our industry, this includes discounts, time hourly rates, charges to insurance companies, individuals, fleet owners, dealers, or other shops to repair vehicles. Remember that surveys of prices, discounts, and costs are permissible, but only under strict guidelines and only if they're not part of a conspiracy to fix prices or otherwise restrain trade. Cost studies that lead to price fixing or price stabilizing agreements would always violate United States as well as Canadian antitrust laws. And remember that the prices charged must be calculated and determined by the business owner alone. And these prices should take into account the cost of doing business and include allowances for a reasonable profit. All content of this workshop is based on standard economic and management principles. Profit margins, labor rates, etc. used in this presentation are to be taken as examples only. And the intent of this webinar today is to provide attendees with basic management skills, leaving them free to determine their own individual rates, profit percentages, and other operating management aspects of their businesses on a strictly independent basis using generally accepted management principles. So now that's out of the way, So let's go ahead and jump into this. First of all, why do we do these webinars? Well, first of all, it's because of the fact that when we do our collision advice, who pays for what surveys quarterly, we find that less than 30% of all shops or estimators are researching their own repair procedures whenever they write an estimate. And that's very concerning to us. And more importantly, is we find that not very many shops are using the OEM manufacturers' websites directly to research these OEM repair procedures. So what we did was in 2017, we at Collision Advice contacted several of our friends at the OEMs and asked us if they would partner with us to offer a free webinar series to help educate you, the end user, on how to navigate their specific OEM repair procedures. So each month we do a webinar, and this month we're going to be covering with you, again, just a recap. Keep in mind, this is a part 2 of a webinar that we did last month. So we're going to give you a quick recap on how to register, log in, and use the Nissan INFINITI Tech Info sites. In addition, we're also, this webinar, going to follow up and share with you some features that we were unable to share with you the last webinar. We're also going to talk briefly about the differences between the OEM scan tool for Nissan INFINITI, called a consult, versus the aftermarket scan tools. And last but not least, we're also going to address some of the questions that were texted to us at the previous webinar that we didn't get to. So we're going to answer your questions during this webinar. And last but not least, at the very, very end of this webinar, if you're a certified Nissan shop or Infiniti and you stay on the webinar, our Sarah and Sarah from Team Nissan Infiniti are going to share with you some marketing things that are available to you as a certified Nissan or Infiniti shop. So we'd like to start off first by having one of my co-hosts, Tracy Dombrowski, launch a polling question so we know who's on our webinar. So Tracy, would you please launch the poll? We're asking you what segment best represents your role in the collision repair industry if you're on this webinar today. Is you a collision repair center? Are you an equipment, paint, or job or distributor? Are you an insurance representative? Are you an OEM representative, maybe from another OEM? So if you would, please take a moment to take our webinar. We would greatly appreciate it. Excuse me, take our poll. It looks like currently we have only 5% of the attendees have currently taken the poll, so we'd like to ask if all of you would please take the poll so we understand what our audience is. Looks like currently right now 91% of all the attendees are from a collision repair center, 4% from an equipment, paint, job, or distributor, 4% OEM representatives, and currently we only have 1% from the insurance industry and 5% other. 63% of our attendees have voted. We'll give it another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tracy, let's go ahead and close the poll. It looks like 86% of our attendees today are from a collision repair center, 3% from equipment, paint, jobber, or distributor, 1% insurance industry, and 4% from the OEMs. We appreciate that. Second of all, for those of you who answered collision repair center, would you please take our second polling question? Are you currently a Nissan or Infiniti certified collision center? So our second poll has been launched from my teammate, Tracy Dombrowski. For those of you who answered collision repair center, are you currently a certified Nissan or Infiniti collision center? Right now, 2% of the attendees have voted. Right now, for our friends at Nissan Infiniti, looks like it's a 50-50 split. Uh-oh, it is shifting a little bit. Tracy will shut our poll down in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It looks like currently 59% of our collision repairers that are on this webinar are actually Nissan Infiniti certified. So we appreciate your attending and your dedication to excellence to ensure a safe and proper repair for Nissan Infiniti customers. And it currently looks like 42% of you are not currently Nissan or Infiniti shops certified. Just so you know, at the end of this webinar, you will be sent a follow-up poll that asks you what your thoughts were on this webinar. And if you're interested in learning more about becoming a Nissan or Infiniti certified shop, please make sure you reply to us with your email address, shop name, etc., and we will provide that to our friends at Nissan Infiniti. So let's go ahead and jump into today's webinar, which is part 2. Now keep in mind, we did a part 1 last month and we had over 1,300 people attend. It was our largest webinar to date. So at our last webinar, we showed you how to navigate and utilize the Nissan Infiniti OEM repair procedures. So for the first 5 or 10 minutes today, we're just going to give you a quick recap. First of all, how do you access Nissan Infiniti repair procedures? Well, first of all, it is a pay-to-use access to the procedures. You can access the Nissan OEM repair procedures through the website link that you see here, www.nissan-techinfo.com. And you can also access the Infiniti OEM repair procedures through infiniti-techinfo.com. Please keep in mind that when you log into either of these websites, there is a hyperlink that will take you to the other brand, their sister companies, OEM repair procedures as well. So you don't have to log in and log out. Second of all, it's really important that you remember, Nissan Infiniti's OEM repair procedures works through Internet Explorer. I will tell you, the other day when I was building content for this webinar with my teammate Tracy Dombrowski, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't access some of the documents. And what I found out was I was using Google Chrome. I had to log back out and log back in through Internet Explorer. It's also really important that you have the most recent version of Adobe Reader, and you can download that at www.adobe.com. Also, as a reminder, make sure any pop-up blockers, make sure they're disabled. I will also tell you that one of the things that I have found that I've made a mistake on is that sometimes my hyperlinks won't work. So I'm clicking on it, I'm like, why doesn't this hyperlink? Well, you know what? It's because I was using my iPad and I didn't have the latest version of Adobe downloaded. I could also tell you the other day when I was reviewing content for this, I'm speaking from personal experience, is that I went straight to the website and I said, why isn't the little eyeball showing up for me to view the documents? I called Tracy and Tracy kept me in check and she said, well, Mike, did you log in? So understand that you have access to a lot of things without a login and password, but if you find none of your features are working, make sure you've logged in, make sure you're on Internet Explorer, and make sure you're using the most recent version of Adobe Reader. Now, when you go to nissanTechInfo.com, or the same screen would show up for Infiniti, it's important that you select the country that you're actually logging in from. So in this case, I would select North America. Once I do that, you will see where it says Purchase Subscription for Viewing Publications. Now, if you're not a subscriber to Nissan Infiniti's OEM Repair Procedures Tech Info, I would absolutely encourage you to do that. And the way you would do that is go to where we have the yellow arrow, and you will select that. And when you select that, it will actually allow you to select what you want to subscribe to. Also, please note that it does tell you at the very bottom that the online viewing subscriptions do not include diagnostic software, ECU programming files, or any other item not listed above. So Nissan Infiniti both do a great job of letting you, the end user, know what they include and not include. Now understand that when you subscribe to the service manuals or the subscription through Nissan or Infiniti, it gives you access to all the service manuals, the technical service bulletins, Nissan Infiniti's what's called Tech Talk magazine, which we're going to really drill into on this webinar, as well as their e-learning training. It also covers any Nissan or Infiniti vehicle from 1989 to current. So what does this cost? Now, we covered this in the last webinar, but we just want to update this for you again because this is awesome news if you're a certified Nissan or Infiniti shop. If you are Nissan Infiniti Certified Collision Center through Assured Performance Network, your subscription is free. Yeah, you heard us say that right, free. So I will tell you right now, if you are a certified collision center and you do not have a username and password for all of your estimators and technicians, shame on you. That's coming from me, Mike Anderson at Collision Advice. Now, if you're not a certified shop, you can see that they have 1-day subscriptions, 30 days, 90 days, or 1 year. Now, once you go and subscribe, you next will go back to the website and you'll go to where it says enter your username and password, and you'll submit. You'll go ahead and log in. Now, again, I'll share with you again, in the past, I would select on View Nissan Publications. It would come up, but I couldn't view the document. It's because I'd forgotten to log in. Make sure you do that. So how do you use the website? Well, first of all, once you subscribe, you're always going to be going in through the View Nissan Publications, that section of their website. That's always the section you're going to be going through. So you're going to select that, and when you do, you're going to see on the right-hand side where it says a search criteria. And this is where you can see all the different references that are available to you from Nissan and Infiniti. Now, in the last webinar, we actually touched on the ones that you will most commonly use as a collision repairer, such as Service Manual, Body Repair Manual, and Tech Talk. Today, we're going to cover for you very quickly all these other icons and options and what they mean. Now, let's say, for example, that you are going to go into the service manual. This is the section or the content that you're going to use probably 99.9% of the time because it just includes everything. So I would go and I would select service manual. Now, I can also select whatever make and model I want in my year. If I don't know, then I can just put search and it will just give me every single option. But again, I want to make sure you understand you can narrow this down by the vehicle, year, make, and model. Also, you can use their search feature to put in any keywords that you want to search for. Now, a couple search tips. The contents of the boxes you use are together or to narrow down your search. So if you just put in Nissan Maxima, it's going to show you every Nissan Maxima every year. If you narrow it down to the year, then it's going to help to narrow down your search. Also, understand if you leave a box empty, it does not affect your search. So don't worry about it. Well, I can't remember exactly what year it is or what version it is. Don't worry about that. It's still going to bring it all up to you. Also, when you go to use the search feature, capitalization does not matter. So it doesn't matter whether it's lowercase or uppercase. In addition, if you're not sure of what you're looking for, type in just a portion of the word. So if you're not sure, you're looking up weld through primer and you're like, do they use the word weld dash through or weld through one word? You're not sure. Just type in the word weld and it's going to bring up everything for you that has to do with the word weld. Now keep in mind, during our webinar, we encourage live questions. So please text your questions to Tracy at 571-458-0648. Now, let's talk a little bit about how you'd use the service manual, just as a recap from last month's webinar. Well, first of all, let's say in this case we went to the service manual and we put in the model. And we put in the model in this case is an Armada. From there, we now see that all of Nissan Armada service manuals came up. So at this point, if you don't know the year and you're just trying to look at things generally to get yourself familiar with the website, just put in one general term, Nissan Armada. However, if you do know the year, then it's going to narrow down your search for you. And you'll see in this case, it says 2017 Nissan Armada service manual is what we're using as an example. Now, When you go to pull up your Nissan OEM repair procedures through the service manual, you'll notice that there's two different formats. Your older Nissan and Infiniti vehicles, they are using Adobe PDF. And what's going to happen is it's going to come up and it's going to look like what you see on your screen right here. Now, any of these sections that you see, like it says general information, engine, and off to the side, any of these little black boxes with the white text, if you click on any of those, that is a hyperlink. So if I don't want to scroll through the entire, OEM repair procedures for this Nissan, and I just want to know something about the front suspension, I could just select front suspension or transactional transmission. It's going to take me right to that section. Remember, if you select that and an option doesn't work, it's because you probably are not using the right version of Adobe, and you'll need to download that. Now, on the newer Nissan Infinitis, one of the things we need to understand is that they also use something that's called an HTML format, and we're going to share that with you in a moment. The other thing, though, that I want to mention is if you look to the left-hand side of your screen, there is a legend of the different icons that Nissan Infiniti use. So, for example, if you see something that looks like a blue eye, what that means is you can view this online. If you see something that looks like a red eye, then that tells you that you need to have a subscription to view that. And then you see the CD, DVD, ROM for any training materials, etc. So whenever you go to look at Nissan Infiniti's OEM repair procedures, if you ever click on that blue eye, and it doesn't allow you to view it, it's probably because you forgot to put your login information. You see, I told you this past weekend, I went to use the OEM repair procedures to build this content for this webinar. I went to the eyeball and I clicked on it, and it wouldn't show me any of the information. I called Tracy, said, Tracy, what am I doing wrong? And she said, Mike, did you log in? So you might be able to view the eye and not view the content. It's because you did not log in. Now, again, let's say, for example, we're in this Nissan Infiniti. We're in this 2018 Nissan Armada service manual. This is a newer one. So I'm going to go back, right? I'm going to go back for a moment. 2017 Nissan Armada, you'll see right here. When I click on it, it is a PDF. However, moving forward, if I go to select a 2018 Nissan Armada, what you're going to see is it's going to look more like this, and this is the HTML5 interface. So it's going to look different. So understand, if you look at it on an older Nissan Infiniti and the look and feel is different, it's because Nissan Infiniti is migrating their own repair procedures to this HTML5 interface, and you'll see this on everything going forward. By the way, I apologize for the clicking back and forth. I got a little ahead of myself. Now, let's go ahead, now that we've given you a brief recap, and we encourage you to watch the webinar that we did last month, let's go ahead and jump into some new information. So in the last OEM webinar we did last month for you, what we did was we covered what was in the service manual. Today, we're going to walk you through all of these other tabs, and then we're going to also show you some new stuff that we found under service manual. So first of all, let's talk about the owner's manual. When I go in here and select the owner's manual, this is basically what the vehicle owner would receive when they purchased a new vehicle. It's probably what most of you would find in the owner's glove box. I will tell you, though, I made it a point. I said, why would I want to look at this if I'm a collision repair? I don't need to look at the owner's manual. But I have to tell you, I decided to go through on an owner's manual on this 2018 Nissan Rogue, and I found some pretty incredible stuff. And by the way, remember, all you need to do is just page down or scroll down, and it always takes you to the next page of the document, no matter what document you're looking at. Now, when I went into this Nissan Rogue owner's manual, I found some pretty cool stuff. First of all, I saw this warning, and I read this, and it said, installing an aftermarket onboard diagnostic OBD plug-in device that uses the port during normal driving, for example, remote insurance company monitoring, etc. And it actually says that Nissan doesn't really endorse this or recommend this. They said this could create problems with your vehicle. So if a customer comes in and you notice they have an aftermarket dongle plugged into their OBD plug, you might want to make them aware of this. Here's the other thing that I saw that I really blew my mind. And that is in the second paragraph in the second column. It says, from time to time, Nissan may update or revise this manual to provide owners with the most accurate information currently available. You know what? I got to thinking about this. And it says, you know what? If I really want to make sure I'm fixing a vehicle properly, I probably want to be a little bit cautious about using any third-party OEM repair procedure software, because you don't know if they have the latest and greatest. But I know if I ever go to Nissan and Infiniti's website, Tech Info, I'm always going to have the latest and the greatest of information. Now, again, we scroll down. Now, when you go into the owner's manual, you'll see each one of these sections, and keep in mind, you can click on any of these, and it actually is a hyperlink. So keep in mind, anytime you see anything within the Nissan Infiniti OEM repair procedures, you can click on it, and it will be a hyperlink. You don't have to scroll all the way down. Now, here's some other things I found in the owner's manual. This really blew my mind. Check this out, my friends. Warning, the pretensioners cannot be reused after activation. They must be placed together with the retractor and buckle as a unit. If the vehicle becomes involved in a collision but a pretensioner is not activated, be sure to have the pretensioner system checked and, if necessary, repaired. And it is recommended you visit a Nissan dealer for this service. Ladies and gentlemen, in the owner's manual, it says that the pretensioners cannot be reused after activation. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we inspecting these seat belts and checking the pretensioners out after the vehicle's been in a collision? You know, one of the things I always remembered is that what are customers looking for when they go to choose a body shop? Customers are looking for three things: trust, empathy, and direction. Let me say that again. When a consumer goes to choose a body shop, what are they looking for? Trust, empathy, and direction. A consumer wants to deal with a shop they trust. What a great way to gain the customer's trust when they come into my body shop, that when I'm writing their estimate, say, Mr. Jones, I just want you to know, while I was writing your estimate, I pulled up a copy of your owner's manual, and you'll see right here that Nissan INFINITI state that your pretensioners on your seatbelt cannot be reused after activation. Were you wearing your seatbelt? I will guarantee you that would differentiate you from any other shop that consumer goes to. And if you're more expensive, they're not going to care because they know that you have their best interest in mind. So I love that this was in the owner's manual. Now check this out. Here was also something else that I saw in the owner's manual. It said unauthorized electrical test equipment and probing devices should not be used on the pretensioner system. So I got to tell you, what came to my mind on this? What about those shops that are using aftermarket scan tools to go and scan and check the pretensioner? I got to tell you, I'm just the messenger here, ladies and gentlemen. That would be, in my mind, be a direct violation of what Nissan's Oem repair procedures say in the owner's manual. Now, here's what else I found in the owner's manual. Check this out. It said repair and replacement procedure. The front airbags, side airbags, curtain airbags, and pretensioners are designed to activate on a one-time only basis. As a reminder, unless it is damaged, the supplemental airbag warning light will remain illuminated after inflation. These systems should be repaired or replaced as soon as possible. Also, look at the next warning box. Once a front airbag or side airbag or curtain airbag is inflated, the airbag module will not function again and must be replaced. Additionally, the activated pretensioners must also be replaced. Ladies and gentlemen, Nissan has a lot of great information just in the owner's manual about things we need to do for a safe and proper repair. And ladies and gentlemen, look at the bottom, right here where my cursor's at. Look at this bottom box. It says, and this is in the owner's manual, if there is an impact to your vehicle from any direction, your OCS should be checked to verify it's still functioning correctly, even if no airbags were deployed. Ladies and gentlemen, are you checking the occupant classification sensor on the vehicle to ensure it's working properly? And by the way, the only way you can do that is with a consult Nissan INFINITI factory scan tool. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And look what else Nissan INFINITI says. Failure to verify proper OCS function may result in improper airbag deployment, resulting in injury or death. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not anti-insurance. I think there's good insurance people and bad insurance people. And I think there's good shops and bad body shops. I think there's good consultants and bad consultants. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I've learned not to paint everybody with a broad brush. But here's what I will tell you. If I have an insurance company tell me that they will not pay for me to scan a vehicle, I'm going to point this out to the consumer and say, Mr. Jones, this is in your owner's manual, and it says right here, failure to verify that your OCS functions properly may result in improper airbag deployment resulting in injury or death. I guarantee you no consumer is going to be happy with that. Look what else I found in the owner's manual. It said do not place the intelligent key for an extended period in a place where temperatures exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That tells me that if you're working on a Nissan that has an intelligent key, do you think we should be taking that out of the vehicle when we go to bake the vehicle after it's been painted? Yeah, because if we don't, and most painters are cranking the paint up, the temperature in the spray booth to 165 degrees, you might find yourself having to damage or have to purchase an intelligent key. So make sure that you take that intelligent key out of the vehicle before you bake the vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still in the owner's manual. We haven't even got into doing repair procedures. Now check this out. Here's what else I found in the owner's manual. It said do not attach stickers, including transparent material, install accessories, or apply additional paint near the radar sensors. These conditions may reduce the ability of the radar to detect other vehicles. Ladies and gentlemen, if we have a customer comes in and they have a bumper sticker on their vehicle, we need to be pointing this out to them in their owner's manual. What about if we have a customer that asks us to install an aftermarket clear 3M brawl? No notch against 3M, I'm just using that as a brand name. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to point these things out with the customer. Why? Because it's a way to gain their trust. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, here's what else I found. Look what Nissan says right here. Do not cover or attach stickers or similar objects near the sensor area. Ladies and gentlemen, in the owner's manual, I found this statement 4 times. Do you think Nissan INFINITI think that's a little bit important? Also, look at the paragraph in the top right. It says in the owner's manual, do not alter, remove, or paint the front bumper. Before customizing or restoring the front bumper, it's recommended you visit a Nissan dealer. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was working at a dealership body shop and they were using a bunch of those lot lizards to blend some of their bumper covers and stuff, I'd go point this out to the dealership principal and say, hey, you might want to be cautious using those lot lizards because if they don't follow OEM repair procedures, it could be a liability for us. Now, let's go and let's talk about the navigation system tab. I got to tell you, just in the owner's manual, I found stuff that was important to me as a collision repairer. But let's go ahead and go to the navigation system. Now, when you go to the navigation system tab, it basically just gives you an overview from an owner's perspective on how the navigation system works. I will tell you right now, as a collision repairer, you probably very rarely will use this tab, but I do believe that you should overview it briefly just so you understand how the navigation system works. So you can ensure that you do a proper output or functionality test with your console Nissan INFINITI Tech Scan tool. Now, when I went into the navigation section, keep in mind, like everything else, anything you click on the table of contents is going to be a hyperlink, okay? And again, most of these items will probably be not relevant to you as a collision repairer, but I do believe as you start to work on Nissan INFINITIs and Nissan Connect becomes more prevalent in the market, you probably need to be familiar with how the functions work. One of the things I did find in this section that I thought was really cool was it said automatic collision notification. It said the telematics control unit generates a signal automatically to the Nissan Connect Services Response Center in the event of an accident severe enough to trigger one of the vehicle's airbags. When this signal is generated, a response specialist receives the vehicle location and customer information, notifies the proper authorities. So ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a great thing that Nissan INFINITI is doing. One of the studies I have found is that the average response time for an emergency medical technician is about 6 minutes in Chicago. But if you go to different parts of the United States, like Montana or North Dakota, the average response time for an EMT is 45 minutes or more. I believe that this feature right here from Nissan INFINITI will absolutely help to save lives. Now, let's go to the body repair manual. Again, navigation, we covered that. I think you should visit it one time, become familiar with it, but you probably won't go there very often. Let's talk about the body repair manual. Now, in the body repair manual, you'll notice that they don't have body repair manuals for every Nissan listed. That's because you really need to be migrating more over to the service manual side. So again, most of what you would find in this section, you're going to find, if not all of it, under the service manual section. We covered body repair manual last time, so I'm going to skip over that. The next tab that we saw was quick reference guide. Now, when you go to pull up the quick reference guide, again, if you narrow down your search like 2000 Nissan NV, then it's only going to pull up that option. In this case, I just searched all, and you'll see all the different quick reference guides that are available from Nissan. Or if you're using the INFINITI side of the website, it would show you that. Keep in mind the blue eyeball tells me that I can click on that and I can view it. So now I go and click on it, and what you see is you see a Nissan Maxima quick reference guide. Now again, on this case, I can go over to the side of this and I can navigate any of these options here, or I can just page down and scroll down and see what's next. Very similar to the navigation overview. Pretty much what this is going to do in this quick reference guide is going to show you how that customer's audio sound system would work. So if they're going to connect their iPhone, how that would work. It's going to show you a lot of what we call comfort features. So basically, the quick training guide is going to give you an overview of a lot of the comfort features that this vehicle owner may be using in a specific vehicle. It's very similar to the navigation section. Again, you will very rarely use this. However, I could see a need for it. Let's say, for example, you fixed a customer's car and they came back and they were like, well, this feature doesn't work on my radio or my CD player. Or let's say that when I plug in my USB cord, something doesn't work. Before I go and spend a lot of time, as a collision repairer, I'm going to go to this section and I'm going to familiarize myself with how some of these comfort features would work, so I'd be a little bit more knowledgeable to review it. I will tell you that recently I was in a shop where a shop fixed a Nissan for a customer, and the customer came back and said, my radio hasn't worked since you all fixed my car. The shop scanned the vehicle with a Nissan console, and what they found out was that a customer had plugged an incompatible USB device into the dash, and that's what locked up the radio. It was nothing that the shop had to do with. It was the consumer had actually did something inappropriately, and they learned that by going to this section right here. One of the other things I will share with you as a quick tip is anytime you're in any of Nissan or INFINITI's own repair procedures, you'll see this little magnifying glass up at the top left. anytime you do like, I don't want to scroll through 200 pages of documents. I just want to find this one thing. Just click on that little magnifying glass, and what that does is it brings up a search box, and you can just type in the word you want, and it would actually take you right to the page that has that. And then if it finds it multiple times, you would just click next, next, next until you got to the document. So really awesome interactive search feature that I really like on Nissan Infiniti's website. Let's go to the towing guide. This section has very limited information. However, there's some good points in there that you may want to review with your tow company. So if you are a collision repairer that has a very specific sublet vendor you use for towing, or maybe you have your own towing company, I would encourage you to go to this section and review some of the precautions that Nissan Infiniti have for towing companies on how to transport a vehicle. So as a collision repairer, the only benefit you may have in this is just to share it with whoever does your towing. The next section we're going to go to is the service and maintenance guide. Now, when we go into this, again, I just hit search all, and it brought up all the different Nissan vehicles. Now, one of the things I wanted to do on this one is I wanted to look up some things on the Nissan GTR. Now, keep in mind the same way that this functions on the Infiniti side as well. Now, so in this case, what I did is I said, you know what, I'm going to look up the Nissan GTR, and I'm going to look at what that service and maintenance guide says. Now, I found this section incredibly helpful, and I'll tell you why. You know, when I had my collision repair centers, we were actually humbled and honored and appreciative that Nissan selected us to be one of their certified repair centers for the Nissan GTR. And what I found was that a lot of the people that own these vehicles take them to a lot of track events, you know. They'll take them to track events where, you know, they get driving schools or driving events, etc. And so it's pretty much a high performance vehicle that Nissan Infiniti makes. So when I went through the service and maintenance guide, I found some things that were really, really important to you if you do fix Nissan GTRs. So let me take you through a couple of those. The first thing I found is that when you go into Nissan GTR service and maintenance guide, Nissan has this document that says, why Nissan Surface? Well, first of all, look what they have there, and I highlighted in orange for you. It says, if you have a Nissan GTR, you have access to a Nissan GTR certified body repair facility. You know, I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I found over 10 references in the Nissan Infiniti owner's manuals, whether it was the owner's manual, the service guide, whatever, where Nissan Infiniti are constantly promoting their certified repair facilities. So kudos on Nissan Infiniti for that, because it's embedded throughout all of your owner's items that they might view. Now, here's what else I saw in this section, on this Nissan GTR section, is Nissan had some very clear specifications around aftermarket parts. And I found that this was a great template that really helped to educate the consumer about the importance of using OEM parts versus aftermarket parts. I got to tell you, if I was a Nissan or Infiniti shop, I would actually do a screenshot of this, and I'd make this into a poster, and I'd hang this in my office, because it really educates the consumer that, look, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we're not telling you to use OEM parts. I just want you to see what your owner's manual and what your Nissan GTR service and maintenance guide says. And it actually says in here as well that tell your insurance agent in your repair shop to use only genuine Nissan collision reports, as special skills, information, or equipment are required to correctly repair the body. So it really leverages you as a collision repairer. Here's something else I found cool in here. And I got to tell you, Justin Miller, my brother, you got to share some insight to me on this when we get some side conversation. It went in there, and I was looking at this, and it says additional maintenance items. Now, keep in mind, this is, you know, what a consumer would be reading on the service and maintenance guide on their Nissan GTR. Keep in mind, this is made for every Nissan vehicle. But it says right here, make sure that the tire has not slipped on the wheel, causing the assembly to be out of balance. The reference marks on the tire and wheel should be aligned, and if the reference marks are not, the tire has slipped on the wheel. Have the wheels and tires rebalanced. Make sure the old reference marks are erased and now reference marks are applied to the wheel and tire. When installing new tires on the wheels, make sure new reference marks are applied. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thought about this, right? What about after a vehicle's in an accident? Say it's on dry pavement and the car gets hit, and the inertia forces and the friction from the tires, which are dry, grabbing the pavement, and that vehicle slides. You know what? It could have caused this tire to slip. So as a collision repairer after Nissan GTR has been in an accident, are you actually inspecting those reference marks? I think I would encourage you to do it. Now, here's something else I found in this section. It says additional maintenance items for performance driving, inspection before and after driving. If you get any type of Nissan Infiniti, any type of vehicle at all brought into your shop, it's important that you ask the customer, did your incident occur at a driving or performance event? Why? Because Nissan actually has a checklist on this. It says these are things you should check before you take your Nissan GTR on a track. But also, here's things you just check after it's been on the track. And they have a lot of different inspections here that you need to absolutely inspect. You may want to consider this if it comes to your shop for a collision after a driving event. Now, hey, how about this one? I go and I look at the tire replacement record found under the Nissan GTR. Now, keep in mind, I'm referencing the GTR, but Nissan makes one of these service and maintenance guides for every one of their vehicles. It says right here, when you replace the GTR tires, it is recommended that you replace all the tires at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, are you replacing just one tire? Let's now go to the next section. The next section is warranty information booklet. Now, when you click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to basically, this tells the owner what their warranty does and does not cover. As a collision repair, I don't think you would probably very rarely, if ever, go into this section. But again, you could point it to your Nissan customer and Infiniti customer and just say, hey, if you're not familiar with your warranty, I just want to let you know this is what your warranty covers. However, I've said, you know what, let me take a look at this. And look at one of the things I found in the owner's manual in the Nissan warranty section. It said, damage or failures due to alteration or modification. This warranty does not cover damage, failures, or corrosion resulting from or caused by installation of non-Nissan approved accessories or components. So if you have an insurance carrier, and again, I'm not being anti-insurance. Again, I know there's good insurance companies and there's bad ones, right? At the end of the day, though, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a shop that feels strongly about Nissan and Infiniti OEM parts, this would be a great way to point this out to the consumer. Now, the next publication we reviewed was the First Responders Guide. A first responder would be like, maybe some people from a fire department, EMTs, anything of that nature that would show up at the scene of an accident first. That's where henceforth the term first responder. When I went into this section for First Responder Guide, again, I selected this option. One of the things that I saw was that they had a First Responders Guide listed basically for all of the electric vehicles. So I noticed that I didn't see this for any regular vehicle, just 100% gasoline engine. What I found this for was First Responders Guides for all of the Nissan electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles that Nissan or Infiniti makes. Now, again, the blue eyeball means that, hey, you can view this document. So when you viewed this, basically, there was a lot of great information in here for first responders. I would tell you right now, if you're a collision repairer, I cannot tell you how great of a marketing event it is for your collision repair shop to do an event for first responders and educate them on some of the precautions that Nissan and Infiniti or any other OEM has pointed out. So what I would recommend you do is, if you've got some first responders in your local area, consider printing out these guides and taking it and giving it to them as a resource. Now, I did find some things in here that were kind of cool for a collision repair. I also want to mention, if you have any questions, please text them to Tracy at 571-458-0648. By the way, Tracy, do we have any questions yet? Okay, sounds like we don't have any questions, so I'll go on to the next one. One of the things I found under the first responder section was that they actually identified all of the high-strength steel components, and they were color-coded. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really awesome. So again, when I went into the First Responders Guide, and I know in our last webinar, somebody asked about color-coding some of the substrates, you'll see right here in the First Responders Guide, Nissan actually took and highlighted and said, these are all the vehicles components that are made out of high-strength steel. So I did find this valuable in the First Responders section. I also saw that in the First Responders section, they had a quick reference guide for emergency responders. I would encourage you to print this out, maybe laminate it, and take it and donate it and give it to your local, and I apologize for that pop-up, and take it and give it to your local first responders, your local fire department, EMTs, etc. So this was a great guide. Let's go to the dismantling guide. The dismantling guide, again, this is going to also, information is also going to be generally found in your service manual. However, in this case, you'll notice that I went ahead and pulled it up. I did not narrow down my search. I just viewed it for all vehicles. This basically, what is a dismantling guide? The dismantling guide addresses precautions that a technician should take before beginning repairs on an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle. So basically, the dismantling guide is very familiar and very similar to what the First Responders Guide, but this is for technicians. So the First Responders Guide tells firefighters and EMTs, here's what you need to be careful of if you approach a hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle and you need to get somebody out that was in an accident. This guide is going to give you precautions from a collision repairs perspective or a mechanical or service perspective as precautions that you may need to take into aware as well. It's going to tell you things like what are the proper tools and equipment you need to have, the right gloves to wear, what sequence you should do things. So if you're going to work on any electric vehicles, you're going to want to check out that section. Now the next section was roadside assistance. Again, I did not search for a specific vehicle. I just pulled this up and you'll see a variety of vehicles. And what this does is it's pretty much for consumers. The Roadside Assistance Guide really educates consumers as the proper way to jumpstart their vehicle if their battery goes dead, or if they have a flat, how to change the flat. So a collision repair, I would encourage you at least once to go in this, make yourself familiar with what's in here, but this is mostly for consumers and not too much for collision repairers. However, if you do have a collision customer that calls you that was in an accident and they're not familiar with how to do things and you're trying to work with them over the phone, you can pull this up and give them some coaching over the phone. The next section is called the Bodybuilder's Guide. Now, when I saw this Bodybuilder's Guide, I was like, what in the heck is a Bodybuilder's Guide, right? And automatically, the term bodybuilders led me to believe that, you know what, this is going to be something that, for example, right now, that a body technician would want to use. So I equated the word bodybuilders with body guide, right? But I found out I was actually mistaken. Well, kind of, sort of. What do I mean by that? Well, this section was very interesting to me. The Bodybuilder's Guide, in this instance, I pulled up a 2017-2018 Nissan Titan. That's for technicians or shops that are going to be making modifications. Now, what do I mean by modification? Let's say, for example, that you were going to raise the vehicle, right? Maybe this customer wants their vehicle raised with a lift kit. Maybe a customer wanted to add a towing package, like they wanted to put a tow hitch on the back, right? Anytime you're going to be making any modification to the vehicle in regards to adding any types of accessories that may affect the fit or function of a component, whether it's a bumper or a fender or lighting or anything, you need to check out this section. So basically, if you're going to do any modifications to a vehicle, this is something you want to check out. Now, let me show you some of the things I found in there. I found right here in this warning section, it said, when working on or near the airbag diagnosis sensor unit or other airbag system sensors with the ignition on or engine running, do not use any air or electric power tools or strike the sensor with a hammer. Heavy vibration could activate the sensor. So at the end of the day, I did find this valuable, that anytime that, and we should know this already, right? Because this is also outlined in the service manual. If you ever go to work on a vehicle and you're going to be hammering, dialing on it, cutting on it, using a panel cutter, whatever the case may be, and there's an airbag sensor near there, you need to remove that because vibration could damage that. Here's one of the other things I saw. It said, warning, after removal and installation of the front passenger seat, a 0-point reset function must be performed. Now you see right here, they said must, not maybe, not recommended, it says must. It is also recommended that this be performed by a Nissan dealer using a special tool. If 0-point reset is not performed, the OCS system may not operate normally, which may increase the risk of serious injury or death in a collision. So if you ever have to remove a seat for any reason, right? Maybe you have to remove it in order to weld a rocker panel in or a center pillar. Maybe you have to remove the seat to get access to the door post. Keep in mind, in this specific vehicle, you need to do a 0-point reset. One of the other things I found in this Bodybuilder's Guide is under body dimensions. It showed me all the frame dimensions, underside, overhead, door gaps, all this. Now, again, this is found in the service manual, but if you wanted to really hit it real quick, body dimensions are also found in this Bodybuilder's Guide. I also found something else pretty cool in here, and that is that it tells you where the DLC port is going to be at on any Nissan INFINITI vehicle. So it actually tells you where it's located at. So if you can't find the DLC port, which just as a rule of thumb is generally going to be about 18 inches within the ignition switch. So most of your DLC ports are going to be located within 18 inches of the ignition switch on the underside of the dash. Occasionally you may have a little black cover that covers it or a white cover and you don't see the little ports to plug your tool into. But you'll also see here that it says the vehicle is equipped with a DLC or data link connector located underneath the left side of the instrument panel. So you automatically know now to narrow it down to the left side of the instrument panel. And it says the vehicle is diagnosed using the Consult 3 Plus. Now, I got to tell you something funny. I was in a seminar recently, and somebody actually made the comment to me in my seminar because I'm just very big and I'm adamant that Oem Scan Tools are the only way to go unless you have an Aztec, which uses the Oem Scan Tool on the other end. And somebody in my class challenged me and said, I've never seen an Oem repair procedure where they said you have to use an Oem Scan Tool. Well, my friend, if you're on this webinar today, and I think you know who you are, you need to look right here. It absolutely says in the Nissan webinar and in their content that you have to use the Nissan Consult. Another thing I found useful in the Bodybuilder Guide was it actually said that it actually gave me a layout of all the fuses and relays. So, a lot of times, I've been myself, you pop the fuse cover down, you're down there with a flashlight, you're getting old like I am at 55 years old, and you can't read the little print. Why am I even doing that? I could actually just pull this up right here. under electrical, and it tells me all the fuse and relay layouts and tells me what each fuse and relay is. So I found this very helpful. I also found that it said right here, it said in this box, for headlight aiming details, refer to regulations in your area. And it says perform headlight aiming if the vehicle front body has been repaired, if the front combination lamp has been removed or replaced. So ladies and gentlemen, anytime you R&I a headlamp on this specific vehicle that we looked up, a Nissan Titan, you absolutely need to aim the headlights. So I know sometimes that we have insurance appraisers that tell us, well, all you did was take the headlight and bolt it back in. I don't need to aim it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's incorrect. You absolutely do. Now, another thing I found in this when I went into the bodybuilder's guide is I found this section. It said a round view monitor system, crew cab. And it told me where all the different cameras were located at and the sensors on this vehicle. But here's what else I found here. It said, note, if any camera system related component is removed and or relocated, it must be recalibrated. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I have people tell me all the time, Mike, the OEMs need to come out with stronger language. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you get much stronger than the word must. So I really found this useful in the body builder's guide that it said, look, if you remove any of these components when you're doing any aftermarket installations or anything like that or changing the vehicle, you need to do a calibration. Now, again, that information would also be found in the service manual. And you'll see right here it said, look, properly adjust the weight distributing hitch so that the rear of the bumper is no higher than the measured reference height when the trailer is attached. If the rear bumper is higher than the measured reference height when loaded, the vehicle may handle unpredictably. So again, this is something you need to know if you're installing a towing package. And again, it says front and rear bumpers. Warning, for vehicles equipped with sonar, do not alter the front or rear bumpers. Doing so may cause the system to operate improperly. So if you have that customer that comes in and wants you to do some aftermarket accessories, install an aftermarket spoiler bumper, I got to tell you, I would probably be pretty cautious, and I would only use aftermarket accessories that were sold by a Nissan INFINITI dealer. We also found here that in the bodybuilder's guide, it says, do not install a damaged or deformed wheel or tire, even if it has been repaired. Such wheels or tires could have structural damage and could fail without warning. I think that's a pretty brash statement, and it's pretty clear in regards to repaired or reconditioned wheels, ladies and gentlemen. And then it also says, failure to follow the following recommendations below may weaken the vehicle frame, which could result in death or injury. Do not modify or alter the front crush horns. Also says do not weld on any part of the frame. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going through this rather quickly, but I found some really cool things in the bodybuilder's guide that I do believe are prevalent to collision repairs, and I would encourage you to go through this section when you are fixing a vehicle. It also identifies their high-strength steel locations, and you'll notice that the same content is what you would find, for example, in the first responder's guide. Another thing that I found here was it talked about utilizing structural adhesives. And it said, do not use adhesive which is past its usable term. Shelf life of this product is limited to 6 months after date of manufacture. If you ever go and purchase any structural adhesive from any that Nissan has approved, one of the things I would encourage you to do is always look on the bottom of the tube. On the bottom of the tube is generally where you're going to see any of your adhesive manufacturers are going to actually take and put the expiration date. So if you order any structural adhesives through your dealership, or if you have an aftermarket vendor that's approved by Nissan INFINITI, it's very important you check the expiration date of the adhesive on the bottom of the tube. We also saw here that, again, on a rear bumper, it said, hey, if you're modifying a vehicle as a bodybuilder, what you need to do is if you remove the bumper, perform the camera image calibration. So it actually tells us we need to do that. So lots of good information in the bodybuilder's content. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're about halfway through our webinar, and I hope you're getting value. Let's now talk about the Tech Talk magazine. When you pull up the Tech Talk magazine option, you'll see right here that, again, in this case, you'll see where it allows me to view it. So what I'll do is I'll view on it. Now, one of the ones we pulled up was there was a 2019 QX50 head-up display. So that bottom line is this was a Tech Talk publication that Nissan INFINITI published. This was for February, March of 2018. So when we saw this in the header, I was like, wow, what does that mean? So what I did was I automatically went and I looked up a 2019 INFINITI QX50. And what I did was I select the I, which means I can view the document for the service manual. I went into the service manual, and you'll notice this is the newer version. This is using the HTML5, and I put in heads up. I didn't put up heads up display. I just put heads up in the search box. After I did that, I hit search, and it brought up everything that had to do with the heads up display. And I saw down here it said calibration. So I clicked on the description and the work procedure, and guess what it found out? I found out that it takes a very specific stall space as well as very specific targets in order to do this calibration. So ladies and gentlemen, I find a ton of information in the Nissan and Infinity's Tech Talk magazine publication every month in viewing it because it brought me to my attention and created awareness for me of a lot of the safety and comfort features that Nissan and Infinity's have in their vehicles. Now, one of the other things that we saw is that it also not only required a specific stall space, a specific target, but also the utilization of the Nissan Consult Work Support. So again, you'll notice Nissan Infiniti does not say use an aftermarket scan tool on this. It says use our device. And check this out. It says right here, and Justin Miller from Nissan Infiniti was nice enough to point this out to us. And Justin, thank you. It said from the left rear seating position behind the driver's seat, view the target sheet looking through the area between the driver's seat back and the headrest. So ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't require just hooking up a scan tool and having a target there. There's certain things you need to do. And you see this little diagram that Nissan shares with us right here, or on Infiniti. It shows you as a technician looking right through this headrest crack in order to ensure that everything's lined up properly. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not a 5-minute operation. What are some other items we found in Tech Talk? So I went through and I reviewed about 2 years worth of Tech Talks, and I read them pretty thoroughly. One of the things I saw here was it said, warning, failure to properly adjust the brightness and position of the display image may interfere with the driver's ability to see through the windshield, which could cause an accident leading to severe injury or death. How many of you are using sublet vendors to R&I your windshields or replace them? Are you making sure that you're utilizing the Nissan Infiniti Consult Scan Tool to ensure that the display image is aimed and calibrated properly? Because if you're not, ladies and gentlemen, it could be something where you're liable for an injury or a death. Here's something else I found. I'm going through and I'm looking at this, through Tech Info, and I'm looking at their magazine, and I'm going through there, and it talks about the Nissan Infiniti Consult 3 Plus Scan Tool. And he gave me an example here. It said when rear brake pads or rotors are removed, the electric parking brake should be released using a Consult Work Support. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to be moving the rear brake pads or rotors or suspension to do, maybe you got to work on an inner wheelhouse or an outer wheelhouse or a trunk floor or frame rail, and you drop that suspension, are you researching their own repair procedures to use the Nissan Infiniti factory scan tool, the Consult, in order to make sure that you're releasing the parking brakes properly? If not, you could be causing some damage. Here's another one I found. I've had the opportunities of working with some heavy-duty truck and school bus shops, and one of the things that we found working with heavy-duty truck and school bus shops is that school buses have what's called No Child Left Behind device in the school bus. And that is when a bus driver goes to get off the bus, there is a button that they have to go all the way to the back of the bus. It's in the very back seat, and they have to push that button before they can turn the vehicle off. Why is that? To make sure that no child is like laying down in the seats from a ride home from school. Well, I never would have imagined in a million years that Nissan also has the same thing in their vehicles. So I'm going through Nissan's Tech magazine, and I see this article about rear door alert. And what it is, it says it was an idea proposed by a pair of Nissan engineers who were also mothers that said, you know what, how many times maybe you might leave a package in the back seat, like, that gallon of milk that you got at the grocery store. Maybe you took some food home from the restaurant, you got a to-go bag, and you forgot it was in the back seat. What happens is if something is in the back seat, whether it's a package or maybe your child's in there, it actually beeps and alerts you, the consumer, the operator of the vehicle, know that, hey, just letting you know you left something in the back seat. Now, here's something else I found, right? How many of you have ever had a glass company R&I a windshield or replace a windshield? Well, after they replaced it, let me ask you a question. Did you use the Nissan Infiniti Consult 3 Plus to make sure the rain sensor was working properly? Probably not. So did you know that Nissan Infiniti has a procedure for this? You actually have to take and spray water from a water bottle on the sensor. You have to rotate the wiper switch lever to the auto position, and then you have to go and use the Nissan Infiniti Consult 3 Plus, and you have to activate and do an output test. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is another case where Nissan Infiniti says you need to use our scan tool and you need to do an output or functionality test to ensure that the rain sensor is working properly. You'll see right here when you go into the Consult 3, it actually says rain sensor. And there's actually a test that you have to do on this. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we got to use Oem repair procedures, and we have to use a Nissan Infiniti factory scan tool. Let's talk a little bit about Nissan Connect. When I selected this option, what I will tell you is it basically gave you an overview of Nissan Connect. Nissan Connect is pretty much the telematics feature that where Nissan can be notified in the instance that a Nissan or Infiniti is in an accident. In addition, it also is where they can actually have roadside assistance. So again, there really was nothing in here that would benefit you as a collision repairer, but it gives you an overview of how Nissan Connect operates. And I think it would be helpful for you to at least review it one time. The next section that I saw was a lemon law book. This is pretty much for consumers to know what their rights are if they feel they have a vehicle that would fall under the lemon law category. As a collision repairer, you would very rarely ever use this. The next section was training materials. Now, we covered this in the last webinar, so I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. When you click on training materials, it actually shows you all the training materials that are available to you from Nissan Infiniti, whether it's for online view, an e-learning module, or a video or a DVD. When you hover over or click on the question mark and the little icon, it will pop up and tell you everything that's covered in that training course. I will tell you, as we start to do more calibrations and initializations, I do see collision repairers using this section of the website a lot more. Let's talk about some other things we found in the service manual. By the way, we've got about 25 more minutes left. We hope you stay on for the entire webinar, but if you have to log off, this will be recorded and posted. So let's talk a little bit about some other things we found in the service manual. When I went to the service manual and I was playing around with it and I was writing an estimate on a Nissan Versa, one of the things I did was when I was looking at some of the section on glass, you'll see right here at the top, it always tells me what section I'm in. I was in the body exterior tab, which led me to the doors, which led me to roof and security, glass and window system, preparation, and then clip list. So this shows you all the areas I drilled down to get to this. One of the things I saw in here was that Nissan has some very good graphics about what their clips look like, but also how your technician should remove that clip. So I know many of you are bringing apprentices into the trade, and we're training them, and we want them to do a proper disassembly. Well, this would be a great resource for that new level apprentice you have, whether it's a he or she, a man or woman, to actually learn how to remove those clips. But it's also a great way for you to understand what type of clips you may need to order from your vendor. Another thing I did was we went into this recently and we said, all right, let's look up windshield glass. This was also on the Nissan Versa. You'll notice if you're on the left-hand side in the search box, I just put in the word glass and it brought up windshield glass. So what I wanted to do was I just wanted to see what was in there and I clicked on removal and installation. And you'll look at it said right here. It says, release the center pillar upper furniture, upper pawl using a suitable tool. So basically it's saying, look, you got to take the some trim panels out in order to get this piece of glass out. Well, guess what it said right here? Do not reuse center pillar upper finisher if removed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's critical that you research Oem repair procedures no matter what part you're taking off the vehicle. Why? Because you'll find a lot of your trim panels are one-time non-reusable parts. So Nissan does two ways. There's two ways that they identify for you non-reusable parts. Number one is I found that they always put it in an orange box like that where it says warning. So while the orange arrow is mine, the orange box is actually what you see in Nissan Infiniti's Oem repair procedures. However, Nissan Infiniti also, remember, uses a black dot with a white X. Here was another thing that I found. When I went into the body exterior, I found a section that says damage diagnosis. Now, if you have a pen and paper in front of you right now, I would encourage you to write that down. Write down the words damage diagnosis. Why? Because every time I go to write an estimate, I would go to the search box over here on the left and I would type in the words damage diagnosis. Why? Because that pulls a chart up for me that tells me how Nissan and Infiniti tell me specifically where the crush zones are at. So it's telling me on this specific vehicle, this Nissan Versa right here, these are portions where damage tends to appear. So it's telling me, look, if you get a vehicle hitting the front end, you may want to go ahead and remove that fender and look inside this little access opening right here to see if there's any damage. If you have a vehicle hitting a damaged rear end or front end, you always want to make sure you inspect over the roof. But what happens is I found that it told me specific areas to look at for Nissan and Infiniti. This is really important to me as an estimator. Now keep in mind, what did I share with you earlier? Nissan always tells you a non-reusable part two ways. In an orange box with the text that says warning, the second way is with a symbol like this that says a black circle with a white X. Well, here I am. I'm in this Nissan Altima. Man, Will Ladd, if you'd be proud of me on this one. And I saw right here that Nissan says when you on this door trim panel, which we do every single day to take door handles off for blending, it says that this little trim piece is a non-reusable part. Ladies and gentlemen, that was not located in the estimating system. I went into all three estimating systems, CCC, Metro, and Autotext. This part was not listed as a non-reusable part. However, by going through the Oem repair procedures and finding this little black circle with a white X, Nissan tells me that that part needs to be replaced. Now, many of you in the last webinar asked us, why do certain parts have to be replaced and are designated one-time use? And we're going to answer that for you with our friends from Nissan Infiniti at the end of this webinar. Here's another thing I saw when I was looking at the door. It said if any of the following conditions occur, system initialization must be performed. Again, it doesn't say recommended, it says must. It says that anytime I R&I a door glass, I need to take and do an initialization of the window. So you'll see right here, I went into body and exterior, I went into the door section, glass and window system, removal installation, front door glass. I drilled down on this, and what I did was I looked up initialization. And what I saw was it says if I ever R&I a door glass, so think about how many times you replaced a door shell or a door skin and you had to take the door glass out. Well, then my question is, did you do a system initialization? Well, what's involved in that? Well, if you were to take and you would actually scroll down on this, you'll see these arrows at the top. There's always an arrow right here, which means it'll scroll back up to the next page, or an arrow at the bottom, which means scroll down. It would actually take you through the procedures for an initialization. Now, let's talk a little bit about tools and equipment. One of the things we covered in the last webinar was all of the great resources and benefits that Nissan and Infiniti have for certified Nissan collision repair shops. However, after the last webinar, a lot of people asked us, Mike, can I purchase my own scan tool direct from Nissan and Infiniti? Meaning, can I get a Consult 3 Plus? Yeah, you can, and we're going to show you how. When you go to Nissan or Infiniti's home website, you will see right here where it says Purchase Tools and Equipment. Once we select that option, it's going to show you tons of things that Nissan and Infiniti have available for you where you can actually purchase tools and equipment direct from Nissan and Infiniti. Now, don't forget, in our last webinar, we talked about how Nissan and Infiniti, for their certified shops, have bonus cash back programs. If you didn't watch our last webinar, make sure you watch that because you can get a lot of money back and a lot of discounts on equipment by being a certified Nissan Collision Center or Infiniti. Now, when I go to the Nissan website or Infiniti website and we go and we click on that option, I'm going to scroll back again. It says right here, Purchase Tools and Equipment. You're going to see it's going to bring me to this page right here. As I scroll down, and that's why I have this orange arrow, and I scroll down, it's going to give me access to go to a website that's called NissanTechMate.com. You might want to write that down if you have a moment. NissanTechMate.com. Now what happens is when I go to that website, you're going to see the little TechMate logo up here, which tells me I'm on the right website. This gives me the ability to click on special tools or essential tools and equipment, and this is where you can actually purchase if you want to purchase your own Nissan or Infiniti factory scan tool. You also see that when I scroll on this website, you're going to see something right here where it says keep your HRK stock. And I was like, what is that? You know what happened was my friend again, Justin Miller and Sarah, Mark, I got to give a shout out to your team. Those girls, Sarah and Sarah both, they helped to turn me on to this. And it says keep your HRK stock. And so I clicked on that, and what it did was it showed me, well, I can actually purchase direct from Nissan and Infiniti through this website any of my pigtails or connectors I may need. So let's say you have a Nissan or Infiniti gets hit in the front end, and the wires got cut off, for the headlight. Well, you know what? You can go directly to this website, and it shows you all the different headlights and turn signal and side marker connectors, all the different connectors, or something maybe a connector for the engine, and you can actually go right there and order the direct connector you want. And when you go to this website, it actually pulls up this table of content, and you'll notice that it says repair versus replace. How do I know if I need to repair or replace that connector? And keep in mind, as well as with everything else with Nissan Infiniti, anything I click on here is going to be a hyperlink and take me directly to that section. You'll notice right here, this was a great example. So in this connector right here, here's how you remove the connector. And it actually walks you through how to remove it. Now, another resource that we found Nissan and Infiniti had through, again, Nissan TechMate, was a link to the Nissan Harness Repair Guide Kit. Now, again, this is the link right here. And when I clicked on that, you'll see that it actually showed me the connector. I can add it to cart, and I can actually, again, order that connector for that Nissan or Infiniti that I need. Let's also show some other things we found. Rogue Liftgate servicing. Check this out. May 11, 2017, Nissan published this, and they said, to whom it may concern, we've received several inquiries from the collision industry regarding Nissan Rogue Liftgate servicing. What does it say right here? Anytime you're painting a Nissan Rogue that is any color other than silver, the glass will need to be removed for proper repainting of the gate. So ladies and gentlemen, Nissan says here very clearly, if you're going to paint a liftgate on a Nissan Rogue, you need to R&I the back glass. Let's talk a little bit about a quarter glass. So I got an email from a gentleman the other day, and he said, Mike, I have an Infiniti, and I got to tell you right now, kudos to the insurance segment. Remember I told you, ladies and gentlemen, There are some good body shops and there are some bad body shops. And you know what? There's also some good insurance people and some bad insurance people. But let me tell you a story about an awesome insurance appraiser that reached out to me. After our last webinar, I had an insurance appraiser that reached out to me and he said, Mike, I just have a question. I have this shop that is telling me that they have to replace a quarter glass on an Infiniti, but it doesn't say it in the estimating system. But I want to do what's right by the shop. How do I know? Well, first of all, if you're an insurance appraiser and you're listening in today, thank you for reaching out on the last webinar and thank you for wanting to do the right thing. So what I did is on this on this Infiniti that this insurance appraiser contacted me about, here's what I did. I logged into my Infiniti website. I went to Service Manual. From Service Manual, I went to the Infiniti Q60 Service Manual. So that was the Infiniti that this gentleman called me on. I clicked on that and I went over to the search feature and I typed in the word glass. When it came up, it said side window glass. I selected removal install. And what was the first thing that I saw in this picture? A black circle with a white X. What does that mean? Black circle with a white X means that that Infiniti quarter glass is a one-time use part. So ladies and gentlemen, I had an insurance appraiser that was dedicated to doing the right thing. It wasn't listed in the estimating system. It was a one-time use part. He reached out to me and I was so glad that he did because I wanted to do the right thing and help him as well. And what we did was went right here to Infiniti. Now, if you were a shop and an insurance company was asking you, how do I know this part's one-time use? You'll see how I did this. I looked at the Infiniti, I went to Service Manual, I went to the search box, I typed in glass, came up quarter glass, I typed on R&I, and it shows me right there, black circle, white X, one-time use part. But just in case you can't see the black circle with the white X, I scrolled down and I also found several other components that in this case Infiniti said were one-time use. And look right here, this little legend, black circle, white X, always replaced after every disassembly. So to you, the insurance appraiser, which will remain nameless, thank you for your dedication for doing the right thing. Here's what else I found. So check this out, right? Nissan shows me the black circle with the white X. They then have down here, black circle, white X, always replaced after every disassembly. And then they have in the orange box, replace side window glass with a new part after removal, never reused. So ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that say you can't find it, I mean this in love, but shame on you. Infiniti didn't have it in here one time. They had it in here 3 different times. So my friends, if you can't find it, you're probably not looking hard enough. Next, but let me show you something else we saw here. So I'm in the section for the body exterior on the service manual on this same Infiniti Q60. And here's what I found. I put in here repairing procedures and precautions on a welded panel. And it said right here, after removing the damaged panel, 2 operations are needed. Preparation for service panel installation and finishing of the panel mounting portion of the body. Grind clean around the area where the spot welded panel has been removed, thoroughly remove rust and other contamination. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this saying right here? It's talking about adjacent panel damage. Whenever you take and remove a damaged welded panel, you have to hammer and dolly and repair the adjacent panels in order to weld the new panel in. So for example, if I go and remove a rear body panel on a Nissan or Infiniti that welds in, after I remove the damaged component, my technician is going to have to hammer and dolly and repair the left and right tail lamp flanges, the trunk floor, and the frame rail flanges. I have to repair those in order to replace the new panel. And ladies and gentlemen, all 3 estimating systems state that that is a not included operation. If you weren't sure how to prove that, go to the website www.degweb.org. Now look what else I went here. Same thing, repair and replace the quarter panel. And look what Infiniti says right here. Irregularities on the panel mating surface prevent the panel from being welded correctly. Using a hammer and dolly, correct the shape of the mating surface. What are they talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? Adjacent panel damage. On this Infiniti Q60, in order for me to replace the quarter panel, Infiniti is clearly saying I have to correct the adjacent panel and make sure it's the proper shape before I can weld the new panel in. Again, that's adjacent panel damage. Man, I cannot tell you what else I found in this Infiniti website. This one blew my mind. Out of everything I've ever found in an OEM repair procedure, this is the one, ladies and gentlemen, that made me jump through the roof. That was this. I'm looking at Infiniti's OEM repair procedures, and I'm in the section where it says body filler, putty, and grinding. And here's what it says. It says, select a sandpaper with a grip appropriate to the putty used. And then I go down here and it says, switching to a sandpaper of a different grit. Sanding marks that occur during sanding are sanded with a sandpaper of the next finer grit. When doing this, check this out. Buckle up, y'all. Do not sand using a sandpaper of a grit 2 grades or more finer than the previous applied sandpaper. Note that if sanding with a sandpaper of a grit 2 grades or more finer than the last one used, and it talks about the issues that may occur. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this talking about right here? It's feather, prime, and block. Ladies and gentlemen, the estimating systems very clearly, Autotext, DCC, and Mitchell say that when your technician gets paid to replace a panel, it is for your technician to finish off up to 150 grit. And then the estimating systems also state that your paint times are for new undamaged panels starting with 320 grit. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't go from 150 to 320. You can't do that. Every abrasive manufacturer I've ever talked to, 3M, Norton, as well as every paint manufacturer, Axalta, BSF, AXO, all say you can't jump more than 2 grit sizes, right? Well, Infiniti, this is awesome. They also say you can't jump more than 2 grit sizes. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we refer to as the gap. Also, feather, prime, and block. There you have it. Infiniti clearly spells it out for us. Here's something else I found. I was looking up some of the aluminum components on an Infiniti Q60, and here's what else I saw. It said that it's critical that when you that whenever you have an aluminum component that attaches to a steel component, there has to be a barrier. It says when installing parts, insulating materials such as resin washers, bolts at the front fender, or anti-corrosion sealant, like the hood hinges, are inserted between the aluminum alloy panel and steel plates. And it shows you that there should be something to protect the hood aluminum from attaching to the steel hinge, or the aluminum fender attaching to the apron. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you research the Oem repair procedures anytime you have an aluminum component that attaches to steel, because I will guarantee you that Nissan Infiniti both have some type of component that should be replaced in between the two. I also found by going into the body exterior paint color, I just typed in the word paint, and what happened was it came up and showed me all the paint codes for this specific Infiniti that were 2-stage or 3-stage. That's a great way to prove to an insurance company that something's 3-stage or uses a pearl metallic. I also saw here that when I was in Infiniti's, I typed in the word precautions. And when precautions came up on this Infiniti Q60, it actually told me that the removal of a 12-volt battery may cause a DTC detection error. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how do I know when I disconnected the battery if it caused a DTC detection or problem or fault code if I don't scan the vehicle? Great documentation. Here's another one I found, ladies and gentlemen, just on removing a bumper cover. It says when I go to remove the bumper cover, there were 3 parts on this bumper cover that when I remove, that Infiniti says are one-time use parts. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to see how many of you have replaced a bumper cover or just R&I'd it. I didn't even say replace it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about just R&I. You just R&I'd the bumper cover for paint. Ladies and gentlemen, Infiniti has several non-reusable parts here. You'll see right here again, black circle, white X, always replace after disassembly. Now here's one that freaked me out a little bit, right? Check this out, right? I was replacing a grill on this Infiniti Q60, and when I replaced it, I saw that little black circle with a white X next to this little cover there. And I was like, what's that cover? So what I did is, as I scrolled down, I saw that that cover was something called an Icc Sensor cover. Has to do with their cruise control. And it said right here, when removing the following parts, never reuse the front grille. Yeah, right here, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever remove the Icc Sensor cover, do not reuse the front grille. But more importantly, it says right here, anytime you remove that grille or that Icc sensor, see right up here in the search feature, I put an Icc sensor. It said anytime I remove that sensor, perform all necessary work for radar alignment until the adjustment completes as shown in the procedure. If the procedure does not complete, the Icc system is inoperable. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll see right here that if I go, I'm going to back up 2 slides, I go and replace a grill, and it has this cover that attaches to the grill, and I R&I that cover, I need to do a calibration of the Icc system. And you'll notice down here that it tells me that I need to use what? The Nissan Infiniti Consult Factory Scan Tool. It also tells me, ladies and gentlemen, that before I can do this calibration, it says outline of radar alignment procedure. A 4-wheel vehicle alignment must be performed for proceeding with radar alignment procedures. It also tells me, ladies and gentlemen, that if I don't do this, the system may not work properly. It also tells me, ladies and gentlemen, that I must adjust the radar alignment with a consult. The radar alignment procedure cannot be adjusted without the consult. So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you going to do this with an aftermarket scan tool? Sorry, you can't. We also get down here and it says before I do this calibration on that little, where that little sensor came off, I also have to make sure that the fuel tank is completely filled. Ladies and gentlemen, all this great stuff is in here, and I encourage you to look it up. And it tells me again that the system will not perform properly if I don't do this calibration. You'll see right here, it says self-diagnosis with console, diagnosis and repair workflow, perform all DTC reading with the console. So ladies and gentlemen, numerous references to this. Here's another thing I found. It said right here on this Infiniti Q60, never reuse the mounting Torx bolts. Always replace with a new one. Let's talk a little bit about scanning. Infiniti and Nissan absolutely say all of their vehicles must be scanned following a collision repair. This position statement can be found on their OEM website. Now, a lot of people after the last webinar asked us about Oem Scan Tools versus Aftermarket, and what we did was we did a little research for you. First of all, if you're using the Nissan INFINITI Consult Scan Tool, it has access to the build data. That means that based off of all the vehicle functions on that vehicle, based off of a VIN number, it will know what components on that vehicle. Aftermarket Scan Tool, ladies and gentlemen, do not have access to the build data. The consult is updated frequently. Most aftermarket scan tools are updated 2 to 4 times a year. If you have the consult and you're running it off of your laptop, you will then also be able to pull up your tech info repair procedures on the same device. If I'm using an aftermarket scan tool, unless it's an aftermarket scan tool that's on a laptop with a keyboard, I may not be able to research my own repair procedures. Also, the Nissan INFINITI Consult Factory Scan Tool performs an output or functionality test based on the build data. Let me say that again. It performs an output or functionality test based on the build data. That means based on the vehicle components that vehicle has, which is specific to that vehicle based on its VIN number. Most OEM scan tools, aftermarket scan tools, what we have done is we have found out generally lag behind about 17 months. They lag behind with any new vehicle information. I will also tell you that our research has shown us that the Nissan GTR cannot be read by any aftermarket scan tools, because you must always make sure you're running the most current version of the console tool. I can also tell you that aftermarket scan tools quite commonly do not have access to the build data, which may lead to an inaccurate or incomplete output or functionality test. And I will also tell you that the blind spot monitoring system has an ADAS control module in the dashboard. And when you replace it, you have to enter in the part number of the module. And because, again, the Nissan INFINITI Factory Scan Tool console is a PC with a keyboard, it allows you to input the part number of that module. So lots of differences between OEM and aftermarket scan tools, ladies and gentlemen. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this, and we're going to address some of the questions that were on our last webinar. So here we go. Last webinar, and this is where we'll ask Team Nissan INFINITI to jump in at any time. One of the questions that was on our last webinar said, and by the way, at the end of this webinar, we're going to cover to you some marketing tips from Sarah and Sarah at Nissan INFINITI that you as a certified facility can take advantage of. Unanswered webinar question last time. How can I get free access to Nissan's full body manuals? The answer is that Nissan provides complimentary access to their service manuals for all Nissan certified collision centers. So if you are a Nissan certified collision center, you have free access. For more information or questions regarding how to become Nissan certified, please contact this email address or this website to begin the shop process. So again, if you're in front of your computer right now and you're interested in becoming Nissan or INFINITI certified, you might want to do a screenshot of that. Now, I will tell you right now, how do you become Nissan or INFINITI certified? You can actually go to the website that is sponsored and administered through Assured Performance, and you'll see where it says Nissan Dealer Body Shop Get Started or Nissan Sponsorship for an Independent Body Shop. Selecting those options will take you through the steps to certification. Now, the next question for us was, how can I get free access to Nissan's full body manuals? Here's the answer. A general body repair manual for 2015 is available on Nissan's website, partsadvantage.nissanusa.com. Nissan's online industry resource for independent repair facilities and body shops. For full vehicle repairs, Nissan recommends referencing model and year specific body repair manuals at nissan-techinfo.com. Now keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to this website, partsadvantage.nissanusa.com, it does give you free access to any of the Nissan repair procedures up till 2015. But ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be in a PDF and none of your hyperlinks will work. So you'll have to scroll through manually and look what you're looking for. So let's state this again. Is there free access to Nissan's body manuals? If you're a certified collision repair facility, you have free access. If you're not a certified collision repair facility, you can go to partsadvantage.nissanusa.com and you can access any of the repair manuals up to 2015, but it's going to be in the PDF format and the search feature will not work, as well as any of the hyperlinks. Now, how would you do that? Go right here to Nissan's wholesale parts website. You're going to see this little option that says collision. You click on that, drop down, and you'll see Nissan Body Repair Manual. When you select that, you will see that that takes you to a look like this, which is the Adobe PDF, and what's going to do is allow you to view it. But keep in mind, none of these hyperlinks within this document will work for you, so you'll have to scroll down to find what you're looking for. Next question. Why are some of the items in Nissan INFINITI, why are they actually, why do we take and annotate them as one-time use with just a black dot with a white X? Well, here was Nissan INFINITI's answer. Certain parts are only engineered to be installed one time, and they're not designed to be removed. In a collision application, if you're removing a part that's designed for installation only, that's the key word, ladies and gentlemen, installation only, you must discard the old part and install a new part. This will vary based on the part and should be noted in the service manual. Next question. There are guidelines about not repairing bumpers with blind spot monitors, BSM. But are there guidelines about not using aftermarket bumper covers for vehicles equipped with BSM? So here's what Nissan INFINITI said. This was their answer. Please see Nissan's blind spot warning, BSW precautions, position statement. Nissan recommends replacing the damaged bumper cover with a new genuine Nissan bumper cover. So here's what we did. Nissan gave us this as a response. So what we did was we went back to Nissan Wholesale Advantage. We selected the option where it says position statements. And then what it did was it showed us all of the OEM position statements that Nissan INFINITI have. And you'll see here that Nissan INFINITI have a very specific position statement on the blind spot warning system. And when you select that, that's where you're going to see Nissan INFINITI's position on repairing bumper covers, precautions, aftermarket, or recondition. Next question. If we select Mexico as a country instead of the United States of America or Canada, would the same info be the same, except it would just be in Spanish? And Nissan INFINITI's answer was, for shops based in the United States, please only reference repair information specific to the U.S. market. Spanish information is currently not available on the Tech Info website. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, the way you can ensure you're getting the right information is select the North American continent. The next question was, which scan tool does Nissan recommend? The answer is Nissan only recommends the OEM Consult scan tool. Nissan INFINITI do not do research with any aftermarket scan tools. Therefore, they only endorse and recommend their OEM factory scan tool. The next question was, is the Nissan factory scan tool available for sale? And the answer is yes. The Nissan INFINITI Consult scan tool is available to anyone in the aftermarket and can be acquired through vendors, including Nissan's preferred equipment vendor, TechMate. So remember the website we showed you earlier, TechMate? That's where you could go online as a Nissan and INFINITI. If you're a shop, you're an independent shop, even if you're not certified, you can purchase your own Nissan INFINITI factory scan tool. Now, I will tell you that the Consult aftermarket kit, and there's the part number, you might want to write that down, J54200-AM, is eligible for discount pricing and rebate options if you're a Nissan certified shop. So anybody can purchase the factory scan tool, but if you're a certified shop, you can actually get a discount. Does Nissan offer any classes on how to utilize their factory scan tool? Currently at this time, Nissan INFINITI do not offer direct classes on using the Consult tool at this time. Are there any advantages to ordering parts through a specific parts software solution? Nissan INFINITI's answer was, Nissan certified collision centers receive discounted pricing if they order genuine parts through OPS tracks. Resources, if you can't find what you're looking for. Let's say that you've just exhausted, you've spent 3 hours and you can't find what you're looking for on how to do a safe and proper repair on a Nissan INFINITI. You have a couple options. First of all is, always look in the service manual. That's where you're going to find just about everything. If you can't find it in the service manual using their search features, go to iCar's website, www.i-car.com. You will see a section that says Technical Resources, and under that section, you will see a tab that says Ask iCar. And if you submit a question to iCar, iCar will reach out to Nissan INFINITI on your behalf, and generally they have about a 2-hour response time. So shout out to our friends at iCar. Now, if iCar doesn't know the answer, and you are a certified collision center, so you're a certified Nissan INFINITI, you can actually email Nissan INFINITI directly at this email address, If you email them at that email address, they will attempt to expedite the process for you. Now, if iCar doesn't know the answer and you're not a certified collision center, Nissan INFINITI do have in their OEM repair procedures and their service manual a section that says, please help make this service manual better, and you can submit your question directly through that. I will tell you, I had a shop that is a client of mine. They utilized this feature 2 weeks ago, and they actually got an answer back from Nissan INFINITI, I think within 2 business days. So shout out to Nissan INFINITI for getting back in a timely manner. Now, there is another option. Make sure you write this phone number down. If you need help with a repair, Nissan INFINITI actually have a 1-800 number. I should say 1855. And it says this: when you're unsure how to fix it, call the no-fee Nissan Installer Repair Hotline by Identifix, 1-855-828-4018. They're open 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time, and this is a complimentary service. Ladies and gentlemen, this is free. You can't find what you're looking for, call this number, and they will actually work with you to get the answer. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I would encourage you to make sure you send us an email so we can forward it to Nissan INFINITI to let them know how much we appreciate as an industry allowing to use this number, which again is free. So we want to do a quick polling question. And before we do this polling question, after this, we're going to actually spend about another 10 minutes with Sarah from Nissan INFINITI sharing with you some other resources available from Nissan INFINITI. And now if you're a certified collision repair center, you don't log off yet. We got some good stuff coming up for you. So let's launch this question. After our last month's webinar and this month's webinar, do you feel more comfortable with your ability to navigate the Nissan INFINITI Tech Info website? If you could take a moment and take our webinar, we would greatly appreciate it. Right now, looks like only 1% of the attendees have voted, so if everybody could just please give us some feedback. We want to make sure that we at Collision Advice and all the other OEMs such as Nissan INFINITI that have partnered with us, that we're giving you value. Currently, our friends at Nissan INFINITI, Mark and Justin and Danny and Sarah, currently 100% of all the attendees have said that they feel more comfortable with the ability to navigate the TEB site. 99% said yes and 1% say no. All right, we're going to shut this poll down in a few moments. Tracy, I'm going to give you a countdown of 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The poll has now been shut down. 57% of the attendees that are on the webinar said, 99% said, yes, I have learned something new. 99% of attendees said they've learned something new and they feel more comfortable with the ability to use the website. 1% said no. 1% said I didn't learn anything new. For the 1% that said no, I want to encourage you to reach out to me, Mike Enerson, Collision Advice, directly, and I will personally spend more time with you to help you to learn to research in order to do safe and proper repairs. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to talk about some benefits that are available to you as a certified collision center. And what I'm going to do is we're going to ask Sarah from Nissan and INFINITI, we're going to ask her to take over this portion. Now, if you're not a certified facility, please stay on, because I think if you decide to become Nissan and INFINITI certified, you may find some information here that's going to be valuable to you. So my friends, let's please give Sarah a big round of applause. Woo! Take it away, Sarah.
Mike, thank you so much. Thank you for hosting these webinars to walk the collision shops through how to navigate our tech info website. You know, there's a wealth of information there, and you're able to break it down and distill it, and we really appreciate all that you're doing for the industry and helping them perform proper repairs on our vehicles. I know 58% of you guys said you're Nissan certified shops. Thank you so much for being part of our certified collision repair network. I'm going to go over a few basic benefits of our network for shops that are interested in certification. For our certified shops, if you want to stay on for a quick refresher, it's always good to get that information and make sure you're making the most of your certification. So we'll just jump in right here. And I know we have a little bit of a lag. But as Mike had mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of certification is going to be receiving complimentary access to this Nissan Tech Info website. So you're able to have access to all of our technical information to make sure you're performing those proper repairs. We also offer preferred pricing on select genuine collision parts. We allow you the ability to differentiate your shop from the competition to help drive consumers to your shop, giving you new options for referral sources for business, giving you the tools to effectively market your business in your local market, Again, that complimentary access, and as well, in qualifying for Nissan certification, you may also qualify for other OE certifications. But we have the network there to help you gain new customers and grow your revenue. So we offer, through OPS, certified preferred pricing on select genuine collision parts. So they're our vendor for our parts and allowing you to select this special buy now pricing on select parts and choosing OE parts over the aftermarket in your vehicle repairs. So it's taking care of you and your profit margins, as well as taking care of the customer and putting genuine parts on that vehicle. Also through OPS, we have our collision total loss CPP program, where total loss vehicles, Mike, I don't think it's evidence thing. You wouldn't mind pushing it through. Any total loss customers that come through your shop, if you're running OPS, thank you so much. If you're running OPS in the background, it's able to scan those estimates and push out a retention offer for that customer. So we know customers, if their vehicle is deemed a total loss, enabling you to shop, and we want to give you the tools that allow you to be the hero and tell that customer, I'm really sorry that your vehicle is a total loss. Here is a special offer from Nissan that I'm able to give you due to my partnership with them, and help them put them in a new vehicle at a time of great need. So this is something that our shops find great value in as they're taking care of the customer and looking to improve their CSI scores. Mike, if you wouldn't mind going forward with, there we go. Mike also mentioned our TechMate equipment rebate program. So we have partnered with TechMate, and they have worked with vendors to negotiate special discounted pricing on equipment and tools from some of the leading brands. Additionally, our certified collision centers can receive up to 15% certified bonus cash back on orders of those select equipment, with a chance to earn a total rebate of up to $15,000. And new in 2018, TechMate is now offering special financing opportunities to get you the equipment when you need it and work with you on those payment terms. So there is the website there, nissan-techmate.com/promo, which will take you to view the program brochure, as well as the order form if you're interested in purchasing equipment through TechMate. This gives you a quick overview of all of the education and awareness marketing that we do to our Nissan owners and Infiniti owners. Starting at that point of vehicle purchase, we are starting to message to them that the Certified Collision Repair Network is out there to take care of them. We're pushing out other marketing, whether it's email, social media, web ads, information on their billing statements, letting them know about the Certified Collision Repair Network, the importance of using genuine parts in their repairs, and letting them know about our complimentary towing that we offer. When they're in an accident, all of that marketing drives them to our collision website, where we have our shop locator where they can find our certified shops, get that certified repair, and then we bookend that repair process by sending them a specialized thank you, offering them the opportunity for service at their local dealer. So just saying thank you for making a smart choice, and getting them back to our dealer. And here's just, again, a quick overview of our customer website. Up in that top right corner, you'll see where they can enter their local zip code and find all of the certified shops near them within a 25-mile radius. Again, these are the different tools that we're giving our shops for marketing. They have our placement and our shop locator. We provide in-shop POP marketing materials. That complimentary towing drives consumers to your certified shop. We, again, do various consumer advertising efforts and then provide you with marketing that you can push out on your own social platforms. Just a quick overview of our point of purchase materials. We provide a certified plaque sign for you to hang in your lobby, prominently displaying that you're a certified collision center. We also, in your welcome kit, provide brochures and a counter card to further educate your customers. A lot of our shops use this brochure as an opportunity to seal the deal with those customers, to show why receiving a certified repair is important, why it's important to use genuine parts, and just continuing to educate that customer. And then we have these thank you folders, which summarizes the limited warranty that our shops offer, as well as giving you opportunity to include your contact information, your business card, and the repair order, so that customer has all of their information there in one place should they have any questions following their repair. Our email to go out to our owners every other month. Every other month we're emailing over 2.4 million Nissan owners, directing them to the customer website and that shop locator tool. You can see on the graph that this results in huge spikes to our shop locator. So consumers may need a repair at that time or may not, but they're interested in finding the shop nearest them. So in the event of a collision, they know where they can take their vehicle. A quick overview, we recently launched a social media marketing pilot where we provide Nissan co-branded social media content to our certified shops. We have a select group right now, over 190 shops that have received over 680,000 impressions on their content. So this is allowing us to push out certified content to our shops that they can post on their accounts, announcing that they're Nissan certified, helping them to drive business, to instill trust. And as Mike mentioned earlier, customers are looking for trust, empathy, and direction, and we're hoping with this content to provide that incentive for them. And again, this just quickly goes over our thank you promotion, where we are capping off that positive repair experience, thanking the customer for making the smart choice, and giving them a little something that helps reinforce that positive repair experience. Just a way to say thank you. And then we'll quickly go over the requirements for certification. So if you're interested in getting certified, please go to nissancertified.com, where you can provide your business information, assess your capabilities. You'll go through a scoring and evaluation, and then you'll get to schedule your on-site inspection. Our certified shops are really the cream of the crop. Only 1 in 10 shops meet or exceed the requirements for our certification, and we want to make sure that we have the best shops possible taking care of our customers. And that comes with this evaluation, as well as in making sure that you use the proper OEM repair procedures through our Tech Info website. Just a quick overview, again, of those benefits. We get you preferred pricing on OE parts, as well as access to that total loss CPP offers through OPS. You have access to Nissan's marketing suite that directs all of our marketing efforts to that collision website and our shop locator. You get the complimentary subscription to the Tech Info website, complimentary towing to your shop for customers needing tow after a collision. And all of this is to instill confidence in your customers, as well as differentiate your shop from the competition. So we work hard to give you all the tools that you need in your certification. And with that, I want to open it up for a quick Q&A that you have with the Nissan Certified Collision team. You can write questions in that question box where some of you have been writing questions to. And again, I've included those links if you're interested in certification for any of our brands. Get nissancertified.com, get infinitycertified.com, and for those interested in working on those high-performance vehicles, get gtrcertified.com.
Well, thank you, Sarah. So, Tracy, I do see a lot of people have typed in some questions and texted some to you. So, Tracy, are you with us? And could you maybe ask us some of the questions that people have posed? And I appreciate everybody's patience on the webinar. Okay, it seems like we might have lost Tracy. We'll see if she jumps on here in a minute. I did see a couple questions that were in here in regards to some of the questions that people had texted me. Somebody had actually texted me a question, and they said if they have not received their welcome kit yet, who should they contact? And that's from Rourke Ponce.
Rourke, thank you so much for that question. We batch out our welcome kits. So every month or 2 months, we will have our vendor send out those welcome kits to make sure they get to our newly enrolled shops. If you can type in that question section which shop you're with, and we can look at the status of your welcome kit. Again, if it's been within the past month, you may be in the queue for the next batch. Again, if you have any more questions, you can email NNA Collision Repair Network at nissan-usa.com. That's our general team inbox, and we'll be able to get your questions to the correct person. And if you could send it with the name of your shop, that would be great.
Okay, the next question we have is, where can a shop get the proper calibration tools such as the targets, etc., to aim headlights and sensors?
So we do have those available through the TechMate program. Now, I don't have them for the other OEs, right? We just have it for Nissan, but going through TechMate, they do make the targets and all the elements for calibration available to our shop.
Okay. The next question is, in regards to the scan tool, is pricing anything you can share? Let's say a shop's not a Nissan or Infiniti certified shop. Do you know what pricing is offhand, or is that something you have to research?
I'd have to research that. Unfortunately, Danny stepped out of the meeting. He would have that information. I don't have it at my fingertips right this second. I'd hate to give wrong information. So what we can do is we can send you the answer, then you can deploy that out to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Another question that we had is there a specific reason on a Rogue why any other color than silver the glass needs to be removed? Is there a reason why it doesn't need to be removed on the silver? And again, I understand that sometimes you may have to research answers with your technical team. Is that something you know the answer of right off the top of your head?
Yeah. So Mike, the way the service part is shipped, it's shipped pre-painted in K23, which is the brilliant silver. So the thinking is that if the car is already that color, you should be able to just apply the new liftgate and it should match, everything should be fine. If the car is any other color, the brilliant silver, obviously that liftgate would have to be repainted. So whenever you repaint that liftgate, the glass does have to be removed. So there are some situations, I guess, maybe that shops might want to repaint even the brilliant silver. Anytime they repaint the liftgate, they would have to remove that glass. But the idea here is that they shouldn't have to paint the car if it already comes in that brilliant silver color.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you all have been very patient. I'm so happy that so many people have stayed on the webinar so long. I'm sorry we did not get to all of your questions, but what we will do is either myself, Mikey Anderson at Collision Advice, or a member of the Nissan or Infiniti team will also get with you, and we will respond to your questions individually. So if we did not get to your questions from last time, feel free to reach out to me personally, and I will work with you to get answers. And our next webinar is on Thursday, June 21st. It will also be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope that you'll attend. And remember, this webinar, after it's somewhat edited, will be placed on our website, collisionadvice.com, for your viewing. We truly hope you got value, and we will be doing a follow-up survey with you. And again, Team Nissan Infiniti, thank you so much for all of your time for us to help us to build the content. Thank you, Mark, Sarah, Justin, and Danny, just for your support of the industry, especially the toll-free number that people can call when they need assistance. So thank you guys and girls so very much. And for you in the collision repair industry that took time out of your day to spend almost 2 hours with us on the phone, God bless you and have a great day. Take care, everybody.